supercar. With beauty and grace, as swift as can be, watch it flying through the air. It travels in space or under the sea, and it can journey anywhere. Supercar, supercar. It travels on land or roams the skies, through the heavens' stormy rage. It's Mercury man, and everyone cries, it's the marvel of the age. Supercar, supercar, supercar!
No, Mitch, you can't go in there. With all that special equipment, and Colonel Lewis, too, Dr. Beaker says there just isn't any room for us. Tell you what, though, we could go and watch on the monitor in the control room. Come on, then. We'll be able to see just exactly what they're doing.
Well, gentlemen, so far so good. She'll gain a little more altitude over the next hour or so, but it'll be slow.
Present altitude reading is somewhere in the region of 105,000 feet.
Yes, that's about the average for one of our balloons. She's carrying a heavier load than usual, but, well, she's up all right. I guess you're right, Colonel, but what goes up must come down. Check? Oh, no, not this baby, not on your sweet life. She's okay up there in the stratosphere. But we don't want her down here again. No, sirree, not with that cargo on board.
There, Mitch. Now you can see most everything. It's like being at the movies. I know. If we were at the movies, you'd have a bag of popcorn. Here you are, then.
Hello, Jimmy. You have a ringside seat, I see.
Guess so, Professor. When does the big picture start?
Not yet, Jimmy. This is still just routine checking.
Hello, South Dakota.
South Dakota, do you read?
South Dakota here, reading track clear.
Canaveral, do you read?
Canaveral, clear.
Patterson Field, do you read?
Patterson Field here. Yeah, trace clear.
That's it, then. All subsidiary tracking stations reading clearly, Colonel. Oh, thank you. In that case, with your permission, Professor, and your help, Dr. Beaker, we'll continue readings for another hour and then blow her.
What's he mean, blow her, Professor?
Explodes the canister, Jimmy. Destroy it.
Yes, that's right, Jimmy. Make a bang that'll be seen for miles, with a telescope, of course. Fireworks in the stratosphere. That's why we call the project 4th of July.
Maybe you get it, Mitch, but I don't. Why are you going to explode it, Colonel? Why can't you bring it down somehow? Say on a parachute.
Well, we could, Jimmy, easily. But it would be too dangerous.
It packs a whale of a punch, right?
You see, Jimmy, that capsule out there contains more than 7 liters of the Colonel's new rocket fuel. Quite apart from all the instruments, transmitting readings to Dr. Beaker.
Don't the instruments cost an awful lot?
Oh, I'm afraid they do, but we just can't risk bringing them down, just the same.
Why, tap it with a rubber mallet and I should think it would go off like a bomb.
Oh, he's right, too. It's okay up there at 100,000 feet, but down here...
It might still explode, no matter how gently you put it down.
That's about the size of it.
And that's entirely neglecting the possibility that it has received quite a considerable amount of radiation. Not, too much, I hope.
So instead, Jimmy, we explode it up there where it harms no one.
But in any case, it won't be wasted.
The Colonel will by then have received much valuable information.
Thanks to your cooperation, gentlemen.
Well, I don't know, Mitch. Guess it sounds safer up there at that. Not for me, Mitch. Reckon you're more interested in popcorn than balloons.
Time for another check.
There, appears to be quite a sudden rise in the capsule's internal pressure, Colonel.
Yes, that's okay, Doctor. It used to do that sometimes in the preliminary tests.
Really? I'm glad to hear it. Very glad. I'm bound to say I put little faith in your stabilizer.
It seems that Dr. Beaker thinks that on account of we're the Air Force, we aren't likely to be chemical geniuses.
My dear fellow, I imply nothing of the kind. It's up 2.4 atmospheres.
That's still within theoretical normal limits, you know, Dr. Baker.
Is something wrong, Mike?
Just can't tell, Jimmy. Half of it's way over my head.
Sounds like the safest place for it to be.
In any case, Doc, if she does blow now, it'll save you the trouble of using your little radio trigger, won't it?
Not my little radio trigger, I assure you. The Air Force's. I am bound to say that I put very little confidence in that either.
Well, okay, Dr. Beaker. We grovel. We are military apes, all of us.
Now, Mitch, he didn't mean any offense.
Don't mind the Doc, Colonel. He's like that with all of us here. Nobody's really up to his level.
External temperature minus 55 centigrade.
Calling South Dakota, do you read?
Internal minus 10 normal.
South Dakota here, trace steady.
Internal pressure now down again. My apologies, Colonel. Reading 1.2 atmospheres normal.
Canaveral, do you read?
Canaveral, trace, clear.
Radiation field strength.
Normal?
Yes.
Patterson Field, do you read?
Patterson, trace, steady. And the volume appears steady too, Doctor.
7.46 liters. Yes. No expansion there. Well, Colonel, everything would seem to be satisfactory.
Oh, fine, Doctor. Have you the recordings okay?
Perfect, thank you.
Well, in that case, again, with your permission, Professor, I think we're just about ready to call it a day.
Gee, Mitch, I think they're getting ready to blow up the capsule. Should be exciting.
Won't be anything to get steamed up about, Jimmy.
Why, Mike? What happens?
Doc, you care to lecture your audience on what you're going to do?
All that will happen is that I shall press this button, and the radar trace will disappear from the screen. Provided, that is, if the Air Force will permit me another small dig at them, provided it works.
You sound like you thought it mightn't, Doc. What then?
I was only being humorous. Of course it would work. If it didn't, then a warning siren would sound.
And then we'd be in a gosh-awful mess, let's face it. But it won't happen. We can be sure of that. She's up there just waiting to blow.
All set, Mike.
Roger. Calling all tracking stations. Calling all tracking stations. This is Project 4th of July. This is Project 4th of July. We are ready to blow. I repeat, we are ready to blow in 60 seconds from now. Repeat, 60 seconds. Please check your screens. There she is, steady as a rock. Roger, Colonel. Ready to blow. The floor is yours, Dr. Beaker. Ready when you are.
Canaveral calling all stations. Stand by for countdown.
Then, if everyone is prepared, I shall press the firing button in 40 seconds from now.
40, 38, 36, 34, 32, 30, 28, 26, 24, 22, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0.
Fire!
What in tarnation?
Mitch!
That wretched monkey.
The trace is still on here.
Then it is still up there.
Emergency 1, capsule has failed, explode. Stand by for emergency instructions. Repeat, stand by for emergency instructions. Canaveral to all stations, stand by on this.
Well, there you are, Mitch. I've got to keep you shut in here. That's orders. It's your own fault, you know, bursting that bag and scaring everyone. Guess you are sorry at that. But Dr. Beaker says you gotta be kept from underfoot. Now Mike's going up and things are getting serious.
Well, that's it, Colonel. That's supercar.
Well, say,
I've never seen anything like it. Neither has anyone else, we hope. Right, Professor?
Well, strictly speaking, it is top secret.
What he means, Colonel, is we should have done a security check on you.
But, Mike, we've never tried supercar at such altitude.
Well, it's the first time for everything.
True, but I wish there was some other way.
Well, if there was, I wouldn't be so worried, believe me. But conventional aircraft can't reach it.
105,000.
what?
Yes, I fear she has, risen somewhat.
There's your answer, Colonel. What do you say?
Colonel, could you not use a homing rocket?
Well, I guess not, Professor. It's on the fringe as far as range is concerned, and it might just as easy home on the metal foil of the balloon covering. That would bring the canister down, but where?
Somewhere in the middle of, the city.
Well, that's just dandy. If it comes down there, it'll be the Chicago fire all over again. Do we need any more arguments? Better get organized then, before she gets right out of range.
Good. The climb appears to be, temporarily halted.
I guess you're pretty sure supercar can do it, are you, Doc?
Well, guess is perhaps the operative word when one is venturing into the unknown. But I have confidence in both machine and pilot. The question is, this, the Air Force has so kindly provided. Will that work?
Well, it's mounted pretty firm. It should be okay.
I agree that need cause no concern, Mike, but there are so many other factors up there. Factors we have no time to consider in practice.
Such as?
Such as the whole basis of aerodynamic control. As you know, in horizontal flight, supercar uses wing fins and rudder for steering. Up there, where there is virtually no air, these will be useless. Forward flight will have to be controlled by firing the port and starboard engines at different rates.
Guess it'll just have to come to me when I get there.
And there's another thing, if you hit the canister. And remember, this rocket launcher holds only one round.
I'll hit it okay, Professor.
It will explode into so great a fireball you will not be able to swerve out of its path.
So I'll fly straight through it.
The radiation field strength drops off at that altitude. But, Mike will still have a considerable amount of cosmic activity to contend with on the way up.
I thought that would be the case. So we've got Mike a suit made of foil. It's not as good as a spacesuit, but it'll help deflect radiation.
Well, okay, here I am, all foil wrapped for instant freshness. Feel like a chicken just gonna be popped into the oven.
Not the oven, Mike. Where you're going, it will be more like a deep freeze.
I'll be all right, Professor. I borrowed Doc Beaker's winter underwear.
Well, let's hope the cockpit pressurization will look after you. Ready to test?
Ready? Testing now. Seems okay.
Reading 1 atmosphere.
Check. 1 atmosphere it is. Let's keep it that way.
We'll do our best. Armaments mechanisms all right?
You want me to test it? I'd blow the side of the lab clean across the desert into the next state.
Sir, not yet you won't, Mike. The safety switch is on this end.
Okay, then, just to get the feel of it. Range 1600.
That's too close. Mike, whatever you do, don't come in closer than 2,000.
Roger. Range 2,000. Fire.
Good, Mike, good.
Direct hit on number 3 rectifier, Professor. You won't be needing it, will you?
All right, Mike, if you've got the feel of the rocket, we'll slip the cowling over for streamlining. Otherwise, you'll feel the resistance at high speed.
I guess they're about ready to start, Mitch. Mitch? You asleep, Mitch? Might as well leave you to it. If it's gonna get exciting, I'm going down to see.
Altitude steady at 108,000. But it, appears to be drifting again.
Cowling, in position, Mike.
Okay, I'm raring to go.
There, Colonel. The telemetry system is now geared over to lead for supercar. All that remains now, I suppose, is...
Takeoff.
Correct.
I shot Mitch off out of harm's way, Professor.
Fine, Jimmy. Ready to charge, Mike.
Ready, Professor?
Charging port engine.
6,000, 9,000, 11,000. Sounds like a mighty powerful machine, Doctor.
It is, Colonel.
14,000, 15,000.
Interlock on. Fire one.
Fire one. Starboard 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000.
Interlock on. Starboard to charge.
Fire two. Fire two.
Good. Everything well your end, Dr. Beaker?
Satisfactory. Most satisfactory.
Right. Move doors open. All clear for takeoff.
Good luck, Mike.
Oh, great. Supercar's showing up now. That little blip near the center. Pilot to console. Pilot to console. Do you read?
Console to pilot, we read. How do you feel, Mike?
Just fine. Altitude 17,500. Pilot to console. Altitude 35,000.
It's bucking a bit, Professor.
That's all right, Mike. You're running into tropospheric air currents. Once you get through that and above the tropopoles, they'll decrease.
Yeah, and so will aerodynamic control.
External temperature -50, internal +30 centigrade. Now, how does it feel, Mike?
Like a cool, clear New England winter's day. Hey, he's getting nearer.
Yes, altitude 70,000.
He's well up in the stratosphere now, Jimmy. And from here on, it gets difficult.
Pilot to console. Seems clear of air currents now, Professor. But you'll have to help me with the steering.
Roger. Can you give us a bearing, Dr. Baker?
Yes, I would suggest climbing 11 o'clock, 72 degrees.
Console to pilot. Half boost, starboard engine. 3 seconds.
Roger. $99,000 now. Don't know what it's like outside, but it's mighty chilly in here.
According to Dr. Beaker, it's -55 centigrade and only 8 millimeters of mercury. So don't spring a leak, or you'll really know it.
Is Mike in danger, Professor?
No, so long as the cockpit pressurization system works all right.
I'm not sure I like it, Dr. Beaker. I'd never send one of my boys up there without a full pressure suit.
We had not intended to perform altitude trials for several months yet. Next time we shall see that Mike is correctly attired.
So meanwhile, we trust to the cockpit seal.
Yes, but let us substantiate this trust. Professor,
Yes, Dr. Beaker, what is it?
I think it would be advisable to ask Mike to perform a brief cockpit check.
Right you are, Dr. Beaker. Console to pilot.
Hello, Consul.
Dr. Beaker would like you to check over the cockpit conditions for us, just to be on the safe side.
Roger, Consul. Feels cold but comfortable. Cockpit temperature 9 degrees.
Is that all right, Dr. Beaker?
I am inclined, under the circumstances, to accept 9 degrees as within normal.
Cockpit temperature normal, Mike. Beaker says carry on. What about your oxygen equipment?
No trouble at all, Professor. I'll check how much there is left. A couple of hours at least. Normal flow rate. Cockpit, internal pressure. Low. Professor, she's low. I'm losing pressure someplace.
Dr. Beaker, the cockpit seems to be leaking.
All right. There is no immediate emergency.
No immediate emergency?
I hardly think so. It cannot be a fast leak. And Mike's oxygen mask, assuming it fits well, will protect him from immediate lack of oxygen. But you will have to find where it is escaping from. Professor.
Yes, Beaker?
Ask him to try and find the source of the leakage, will you?
Dr. Beaker says, find the leak if you can.
Not gonna be easy, but I can try. I'll check the cockpit cover, where it seals. That's the most likely place. I must say Dr. Beaker's mask is doing its stuff.
I can't feel a thing.
I got it.
The canopy must have cracked where it seals against the metal of the cockpit. What do I do about it?
Well, you'll have to try and mend it, Mike.
Swell idea, Professor. Only I didn't bring my puncture repair kit with me.
Actually, he did, Professor. I put one down by the right of the seat.
Thank you, Doctor. Down by the seat, on your right-hand side, Mike.
Well, well. That's what I call be prepared. Okay, I got it. First time I ever mended a puncture from inside the tube. That's it, folks. Show is over for the moment. Business back to normal.
You're sure it's all right now, Mike?
Fine, Professor. Hey, I must be getting close by now. Well, that was a near thing.
Not really, my dear Colonel. These things are all in a day's work. Everything was, under control.
Dr. Beaker?
Yes?
Mike appears to be approaching the target. Can you give him a position?
Hey, the blips are almost on top of one another.
And the altitude is now 101,000.
I can see it.
Can you, Mike? Where?
At 10 o'clock.
Bring him down 5 degrees, Professor.
Console to pilot. Reduce on port engine. 1 second only.
Switching on clear view now.
There she is. There's our baby.
Yeah, but rather a dangerous baby.
Right, Mike. Select right-angle lens. Mike! Mike! Hold it steady.
Yeah, but how?
Stop and boost. 1/2 second.
It's not so easy, is it?
You can say that again. Range 5,000, decreasing.
I must say that canister looks kind of peaceful just hanging there. Hard to believe it's the menace it is.
Console to pilot. Range 3,005.
Roger.
Range 3,000.
Got it in the sights, Professor.
2,800.
I'm losing it.
Half boost port. 1 second. Range 2,005.
Roger.
Yeah, that's better.
2,200.
Nothing more for us to do, Colonel.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he's on his own now.
2,050. 2025. 2,000.
What's happened? Mike.
Mike, are you still there? You're into 1875.
And I'm going in further, too.
Mike? Mike, no!
I can't hold steady and guarantee a hit at that range. And I haven't brought supercar all the way up here to miss.
For heaven's sake, Mike, you're into 1,200.
I'm going to fire at 9, Professor.
But, Mike, you won't get through yourself.
Won't I? I'm going pretty fast. 900. Here goes.
Mike, he's mad.
You won't mind us sending you the bill for a new paint job? Oh, certainly not. Certainly not. I guess that's the least the Air Force can do.
Not at all. It was a great opportunity to run an altitude test.
Gee, I'm sorry Mitch wasn't in on the excitement, though.
Well, Jimmy, we couldn't risk him sticking a paw into that operation. You see what I mean? He's, meddlesome.
supercar, supercar. With beauty and grace, as swift as can be, watch it flying through the air. It travels in space or under the sea, and it can journey anywhere. Supercar, supercar. It travels on land or roams the skies, through the heavens' stormy rage. It's Mercury manned, and everyone cries, it's the marvel of the age. Supercar, supercar, supercar!